We are Gathering of the Geeks, a podcast and YouTube show built around the things we as geeks all love. Hashtag we gather on Sundays. Thank you for checking out the one with our favorites of 2022. I'm one of your hosts, Emmet, and I'm joined by the Ted Lasso and my coach beard, Chris Evans.
Hey.
Yeah, that's good. Gathering of the Geeks is available on YouTube and wherever you get your podcast. Just search Gathering of the Geeks and you will find us. Chris, we're back after a elongated break. We're back for our first show of 2022. How's it been going? Like I said, it's been we missed 2 holidays since we've been gone. Christmas and New Year's. A lot of things have happened, I assume. So, how's it all been going?
It's been going. I missed you. It's been going. I traveled a bit. I was in Vegas for about a week. Had Christmas at home. That was nice. Had New Year's in Vegas. It was good though. It's feels like it's been a while since we've done this though. I guess it's been 3 weeks because we had the one and then the 2 weeks off. So yeah,
that's right.
It's been a little bit. It was nice.
That's what my wife said. It's like, oh, it's been forever since you've recorded. I'm like, yeah, it feels like that too.
It does.
Yeah,
it really does. I missed you.
Yeah.
Grab says we both look younger. You know what it is?
I shaved. I trimmed my beard.
He shaved. I'm cosplaying as an Irish American right now.
That's right. Chris is Sheamus from WWE. That's his mystique that he's going for right now.
Are you not entertained?
That's right. So what up to Grabs and Eric in the comments? How's it going tonight, guys? So we're going to be going through our top 5 favorites for comic, TV show, and movies in this episode. But Chris, when we were making these lists, for me, one of the things I realized when I was making my list for my top 5 favorite movies was I didn't watch as many movies in 2022 as I expected or that I wanted to. And then over the last 3 weeks, it felt like I was watching all of those movies, trying to get them all in. So what else? What have you been up to the last 3 weeks? What have you been watching or reading, if anything?
I have not read a single book.
Yeah, I think I read one maybe.
I have not read this. And it's funny because I have a lot of stuff on my list as usual. But like there's newer books I want to read that I didn't like. The new issue of Teenage Wasteland came out. I haven't gotten to it yet, but I will. So I've been watching a lot. After the holidays, toward the end of the holidays, I watched Knives Out, of course.
Mm-hmm.
I had to watch that. That was amazing.
Yes.
I watched The Invitation, which I thought was just a Netflix movie. It's not. It was in theaters too, which was surprising. Then this week alone, I watched Spider-Man 2 on the plane back, which I actually appreciate more now than I did before.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I still don't love it the way everybody else does, but it's pretty good. But yeah, I watched that. I watched The Pale Blue Eye with Christian Bale. That was interesting.
That one snuck up on me. I didn't know it was even a thing. And all of a sudden I saw people on Twitter saying they watched it. I'm like, oh, I didn't know this was a thing at all.
I thought it was still filming.
Yeah.
Like I remember being announced. I remember Edgar Allan Poe, Christian Bale, some kind of murder. Right. I'm probably in for that. And then I started seeing people tweet, but I was like, oh, it's out. So I checked that out. And The Menu is what I really, really enjoyed this week. That is just an amazing movie.
Yeah. Yeah. My wife and I watched that. Maybe it was Friday night.
Oh, did you?
It was a good time. It was a lot of fun and funny at times and creepy at times. Lots of good things about The Menu. I was surprised about it too. It went a lot of different places than I was expecting, so I really appreciated that fact.
Yeah, I thought it was about cannibals. Like, I thought The Menu were people that were being served. Like, here is, you don't know you're eating this man's arm, but here it is. It's chicken. That's what I assumed it was. So then to find out it's not that, it's like, oh, this is neat.
Yeah. Yeah. I liked Ray Fiennes is, he's always really good, but it's just like he's such an underappreciated actor in some instances. Like he seems like he's been doing it forever, but he still seems very young to me for some reason. I don't know why that is. He doesn't seem like I assume he's like 60 years old.
Yeah, probably.
But he must have been like when he was doing Schindler's List, for Christ's sakes, he must have been like his early 30s or something. But he just feels like he's been doing it forever and doing it at such a high level. Joseph.
Where's his brother?
Well, he was in The Handmaid's Tale. That's what I know. I don't
Oh.
know what he's doing now, though. But yeah, I really appreciated Ralph Fiennes in this movie. Not like creepy, yes, but very emotional in this movie.
Yeah.
Like in all lots of emotion, and he's feeling it all like everywhere. His face is just full of emotion. His eyes are welled up in every other scene. Yeah, very expressive. So Ralph Fiennes was the big standout for me in that movie. And like I didn't know John Leguizamo was in it. I barely knew that Nicholas Hoult was in it. I knew that Anya Joy was in it, obviously. I think that was it for. I think one of the older couple. I think I know who they are. I've seen them before, but Ralph Fiennes is the big standout for me from the menu. I really liked him.
The standout for me was actually Anya Taylor-Joy.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen her in some stuff, but I guess this is the first movie where she's more of a, for me, like a central character that mattered.
Mm-hmm.
So I really liked her a lot in this. Ralph Fiennes was awesome too. I knew John Leguizamo was in it. I'm a big John Leguizamo fan. I think because he's ingrained into my brain from like The Pest.
That's right.
I love The Pest. I'm sorry. The Pest is hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
And also his stand-up specials are really, really good. So I knew he was in it. What caught me off guard though, I don't remember her name in the series. It's been a while, but the boss from Who's the Boss is the older couple. The female in the older couple.
So the one that got the wife of the guy that got his finger cut off?
Yes.
Yeah, I know her from. Oh crap! I don't know what I know her from. She's from that.
Judith Light.
She's the one. Judith Light. Thanks.
That's her name.
She was the mother in the show with Jeffrey. What's his name? Jeffrey Tambor, where he wants to be a woman.
I haven't watched that.
And she's his ex in that in that TV show. That's what I know her from.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think I've only seen her in Who's the Boss.
Mm-hmm. And I think the other couple, the food critic one, I know her. She was in Ozark, I think.
Okay, I've not seen that.
I think that's where I recognized her. But that was kind of the other cool thing about like, oh, I recognize that person. I recognize that person.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to know who they are. It's kind of just a recognizing, and that's why John Leguizamo is so weird. Like he's like the biggest name of the outer crew.
Yes,
it's just kind of cool and funny, and the joke about his movie that Ralph Fiennes hated so much, and just some funny stuff thrown in there. Yeah, just some funny stuff thrown in there. It's just funny.
Yeah, the tone of the movie is very interesting. It's not what you would think it is. Clearly, I thought it was about cannibals.
Yes.
It's very surprising. Mm-hmm. I also have a horrible cough from Vegas. Sorry, guys.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like that a lot. I think that was are the movies I've watched this year so far, which have been 4 or 5. I forgot. That would be my favorite. The menu is really good. Also, it's the first movie I really did not like Nicholas Hoult in. I thought he was such an unlikable human.
They did a great, and like as soon as you see him, as soon as he opens his mouth for the first time, you're just like, I want this guy to die instantly in a horrible, terrible way. And he does. Spoiler, like he does. So yeah, like they did a really, really good job in making us not like Nicholas Hoult. And I like how the mystery of things, certain pockets played itself out. Really, really fun movie. I agree. Really fun.
Would you call it horror though?
I don't think so. Like I was trying to explain it to my mother the other day. Because it's not horror. There's like some creepy stuff in it, but there's nothing like, there's no jump scares. There's no creatures, anything like that. I think it's just more or less like a comedy thriller. If that's even a genre.
I would just call it like a dark comedy.
Yeah, dark comedy. Yeah, that works.
That's what I would call it. Because I don't think it's a horror movie. I really don't think it's a thriller movie because there's not like action in it.
Sure.
Yeah, Zeddy's right. Shut up and eat your food, child. You child. That quote alone was like, whoa. Also, I can't wait to see him in Renfield, and hopefully him and Nicolas Cage have some good stuff together. But that's
hopefully Nicholas Holt's redeemed for Renfield. That's right.
I'm sure he will be. I like him in the trailer already. But yeah, that's really what I watched and stuff.
Just a quick hey to Phil, Zeddy, and Jeff for jumping in the comments, guys. How's it going this evening? Did you watch The Fabelmans?
No, I didn't get around to it.
Okay, that's a good one. It's really, I like, and I mentioned this to you, and I thought this last year as well when watching West Side Story. Smaller Steven Spielberg is very cool. Is very interesting because he doesn't shoot it as a smaller movie.
Mm-hmm.
He shoots it like it's a big production, like the camera's always moving and this and that. And that's what I really appreciated about West Side Story is like the action scenes, the dancing scenes, the musical numbers felt like big action scenes. They felt like they had a lot of movement to them. And, watching The Fabelmans is the same kind of thing where it's more or less just people talking aside from there's some stuff where the main character is making war movies. So there's action that way. But I have this, I don't know, this newfound, maybe this is like the older Steven Spielberg, where it's not all about explosions and big action pieces. Whereas in like people talking feels just as big, feels just as important because of the way he shoots it. I really appreciated The Fabelmans for a lot of different reasons, but it really showed me how much I loved Paul Dano.
Yeah.
Like I like Paul Dano. I like Paul Dano in The Prisoners. I like Paul Dano in The Batman. I like Paul Dano in Little Miss Sunshine. But Paul Dano, like as he's getting older, and it's like in this one he plays like an old Jewish, like he's into technology and computers and stuff like that in his job. It's like the way he plays it, it's just I find him very likable. Not just we're talking about Nicholas Hoult where he wasn't likable, and obviously the characters are very different, but I just find Paul Dano a very likable actor who can do a wide variety of things. He can do the creepy like he is in the Batman, and the deranged quotation marks in the Prisoners. In Prisoners, but I really appreciated Paul Dano in The Fabelmans. I thought he was probably one of my favorite parts of the entire movie. So I'm assuming you'll get to it.
I will. But it's on my list. But you forgot his best movie, which is The Girl Next Door.
Is that the one with Emile Hirsch and what's her
Alicia
name?
Cuthbert?
He's
in the elephant. Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, he's got like a weird beetle looking haircut, and he's just kind of in the background, but he's there.
Yeah, that's
they call him tripod.
He's had that Beatles haircut for a lot of his life.
That's what I thought. Like whenever I would think of Paul Dano, that's where my mind would go to is him in that movie because of that. But he really is a very good actor.
Yeah, very, and that's the thing. And much like the Steven Spielberg thing is it's a small movie, and Paul Dano's playing not a small role. He's the father in it, but he's not doing anything big and extravagant. There's just so much emotion that he plays with, and I just really appreciated Paul Dano as an actor in this movie.
Just quality guy, I think.
I
really like watching him get beat up for some reason.
He's really good at it. He's really good at playing the sore sad sack who gets just beaten up and is the downtrodden. He's really good at that.
It works. Like Prisoners, it worked.
Sure. Exactly, and that's what the differing things are. It's like he can play that, and then he can also play like a straight up black suit and tie family man, which I really appreciated. And it's just something about Steven Spielberg, man. Like 2 years in a row, West Side Story was one of my favorite movies of last year, if not my favorite movie. And then this one again right after him. Like the guy, it's stupid and it's hyperbolic, but he really is the greatest of all time. And it's like it's just so funny. Like he just keeps pumping it out. And he's changing his style. Like I picture like a musician who like when they're 20 years old playing rock music. And they're just wild and crazy, and then they get older and they go older, and they have to change their style to adapt to continue to be great. And that's what it feels like Spielberg's doing. He's adapting to his style. It's just incredible. You can't say enough about the guy. And again, it's stupid. It's Steven Spielberg. Everyone knows how good he is, but it is pretty incredible that back-to-back years, West Side Story, The Fabelmans. It's just incredible. The guy's incredible. Can't believe it.
After finally watching E.T., I kind of have a look at him a little bit differently because he's made a lot of movies I really, really like. Jurassic Park, one of my all-time favorites. I'm putting E.T. like neck and neck with that movie now.
Yep, absolutely.
So he is special.
Yeah, exactly. Very special. And the meta-ness to the Fablemans, the last 7.5 minutes to the movie is very funny and very on the nose as well. So it's very funny.
I think Zeddy says it really well here. Spielberg is the king of escapist entertainment. No one makes more audience friendly better than he does. And I agree with that. If a Spielberg movie's out and you go see it, you're probably gonna like it.
Yep. And like I said, they're different. Like he made a musical last year, West Side Story, a remake, and then this one's basically an autobiographical movie about his life, about not much.
Well, yeah.
So it's very interesting.
Jeff says, weird comment, just saw that The Gentleman on Netflix. I love that movie. Have you seen The Gentleman?
Is that the one with Colin Farrell and
yes,
what's his
Matthew
name
McConaughey
and the other guy from Sons of Anarchy? Is that can it?
Oh, the blonde guy, yeah.
Yeah. Oliver Queen.
His name Charlie Hunnam?
That's it, Charlie Hunnam or Hunnam. Yeah, whatever. That's him.
King Arthur.
Yeah, I haven't seen it. Yeah, I haven't seen it. I heard it's very good.
It's really good.
Yeah,
it's actually pretty awesome. I didn't know that was on Netflix. I might watch that again. I also love Guy Ritchie movies.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Spielberg and Guy Ritchie is a very different beast.
Yeah, that's a big.
That's a big jump. But I do like Guy Ritchie movies too. They're really fun.
Mm-hmm.
They're good times.
What else do you want to talk about before we get into our top fives? Anything else?
No. So we kind of figured the top five would be the bulk of the conversation. So we didn't plan too much as usual.
Yeah. Oh, I did watch the Banshees of Inisherin, which
did you?
know you well. Yes, I did.
What do you think about it?
Well, it's funny. I wanted to watch In Bruges first because of the team, and I did. And I talked to you about that. And I very much liked it. I really, really liked it. And then I watched Banshees of Inisherin, not knowing too much about it. Basically, only thinking that Colin Farrell and Brendan Gleeson were in the movie, and that was it. Not what's his name? Cogan.
Barry, yeah.
Barry Cogan, thank you. So I liked it. I don't know. I liked it, but I like In Bruges better. It's weird to say that because it's not really the point of it. But I liked how how much more darker this one was than In Bruges. I felt like it wasn't as funny, but I also appreciated that fact. Brendan Gleeson cutting his fingers off, that kind of thing. Yeah. But then, like the heartfelt and heartbreaking moments with Barry Cogan and his father, and then obviously the end result of Barry Cogan.
It's a large contrast.
And like the scene of him asking Colin Farrell's sister, like out on a date or whatever, is so hard to watch, incredibly hard to watch, incredibly hard to get to because of the way Barry Cogan plays it. I like the juxtaposition between the Irish Civil War and the internal issues that are happening on the island as well. I liked all that kind of stuff. I liked the cinematography. I thought the movie looked outstanding. It was a very good movie. It wasn't as funny as In Bruges was. It wasn't as heartfelt, and that's maybe why. Well, not heartfelt's the right word, but I was looking for a little bit more levity. Aside from Brendan Gleeson cutting his fingers off, it was just a little too depressing, I think, for me. Obviously, the end is kind of not as depressing, but I think I was just looking for a little bit more uplifting thing, and that's not the point of the movie. Maybe I shouldn't have watched them In Bruges back to back with Banshees of Inisherin just because I was just comparing them to each other. The comedy in Bruges is just so funny. It's just too much.
It's interesting though that the subject matter in Bruges is not funny, whereas I think the subject matter in Banshees kind of is, because Banshees is kind of like grumpy old men in Ireland.
Yep,
that's kind of what it is. Like an extreme version. So in Bruges is about death, really.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very dark movie, so it's
Mm-hmm.
kind of interesting. But I love them both. If I had to pick one or the other, I don't know if I could, because I like
That's
them
what
for different reasons.
Yeah, and I shouldn't have compared them together. And like I said, I probably shouldn't have watched them back to back because they are two very different movies, but with the same lead actors and the same writer director. It's tough for me not to compare them. But yeah, like Zeddy was saying, a little tough to see the chopping of the fingers off. I think little bit much, and like it's not like he lops them off and puts a Band-Aid on, and that's the end of it. So yeah,
no, it's kind of out there, but I love it. It's one of my favorite movies of the year.
Yep, I'm glad I watched it. Another one like Paul Dano, Colin Farrell.
Oh yeah,
For me was an actor that I didn't appreciate enough and haven't appreciated enough. Because I felt like Colin Farrell was just a dude, a cool guy who did dude movies or whatever. But he's not like that at all, or he is like that in some cases. But his serious stuff and his smaller indie work, outstanding. And even like the Batman, one of the biggest movies of 2022, he was incredible in it. So I'm not going to take him for granted anymore.
I'm sure he'll appreciate that.
Yeah, that's right.
He's awesome. I love his work. I always have. I thought I don't remember the first movie I really noticed him in. Of course, I'd seen Minority Report, but I didn't pay attention to him. It's a Tom Cruise movie about all kinds of other stuff. So I forgot what I really noticed him in, but he's really good.
Yeah, he's sneaky good in Minority Report too.
He is.
Like he's not in it that much, but yeah, sneaky good in that movie for sure.
I think Daredevil is the movie I really noticed him in, unfortunately.
Well, and that's what I mean. Like that's what I think of him as. Just the goof playing Bullseye. Like, jeez.
With the paperclip.
Yeah, just jeez Louise. All right. Okay, Chris. Let's get to some top 5 lists. Let's get to the bulk of the episode. So we're doing our top 5 favorite things from TV shows, from comics, and from movies. Chris, which category would you like to start with?
So I think we're going to do, because the way we talk about stuff, it usually goes this way anyway. Comics, TV, movies. And choose the order in which we go.
Okay, let's do that. Yep. Okay. So we did have some people get in contact with us about some of their favorites from the year. So we had Cookie let us know her favorite comics of the year: Twig, Bloodstained Teeth, Barnstormers, Rain, and Swamp Dogs. I haven't read Barnstormers or Swamp Dogs. We had both of us had read Twig, Bloodstained Teeth, and Rain, though. So we're happy about those. Phil Walsh, some of his favorite comics of the year. Batman the Imposter, the hardcover came out this year. So he got into reading that. He's got Batman One Bad Day, Mr. Freeze on his. He's got Dear Detective, that Lee Bermejo kind of mashed together of all his covers, built in with a little story in there. He's got the Riddler, Year One. We'll mention Paul Dano again. And then World's Finest. He's got that on there too. Who else do we got here? Oh, Aaron, the man from the future. His favorite comics of the year: Beyond, The White Knight, Task Force Z, Joker, the Man Who Stopped Laughing. He's got Superman 78 on here, and then he read Strange Adventures this year as well. So thanks so much, guys, for sending in your top 5 favorite comics of the year. Chris, do you want to do back and forth? Do you want to do all your 5 at once? How do you want to do it?
I thought we were reading everybody else's first. Now we're getting to ours.
Well, we just did. That was everybody else's comics.
Oh, right. Okay, now I thought we were doing like the whole things.
No, we'll save the TV shows and the movies.
Oh, okay, I got you. We'll do back and forth. We'll do it the way Midlife Vices does.
Oh, well, they're smarter than we are.
We could do it.
All right, Chris, go with your number. Go with your number 5 favorite comic of the year.
My number 5 favorite comic of 2022 is Marvel's Moon Knight from Jed McKay.
Ooh, number 5. I was expecting higher.
when I started going through it, I got overwhelmed. You know, I'm not good with lists anyway, so it's like Moon Knight. But really, Moon Knight, I think I've said it many times. The Jed McKay run is one of the absolute best runs of this character.
Mm-hmm.
He is just killing it on this book, and it's so consistent. There's not a bad issue, and what I like about it, just as much as I'm enjoying it, I love reading other people enjoying it, or or just their comments about it. It's allowed me to make some new Moon Knight friends, or Moonies, or something. I don't know what you call it.
Moonies.
Moonies.
I like that.
It sounds fancy. We're all about fancy tonight.
That's right.
So, yeah, Moon Knight is my number 5.
That one, best Marvel series, ongoing series, was that last night or the night before on Lauren's, the neighborhood friendlies. She gave out her awards, and that won best ongoing Marvel series as well.
As it should.
As it should. I voted in thinking about you, Chris. So happy that Moon Knight won that as well.
Oh, we'll see what your number 1 is then if you were thinking of me.
Yeah, I'm scared. You have no idea how stressed I am about this. Okay. My number 5 is Silver Coin. Issues 8 through 15 came out this year from Michael Walsh on art, and then a cacophony of writers. It's the best horror comic on the shelves. Specifically, issue 13 that came out this year was exceptionally creepy and sad. It's an instant read for me in all cases, an instant buy for me. It's one of the, I've been not buying as many single issues, getting more collected, but Silver Coin is one that I will constantly buy single issues for. It's on a break right now after the 3rd arc just ended, but it's scary. I like the connectivity of every single issue. It all kind of relates to one another. The art is disgusting, and it's awesome. Disgusting and awesome is how I would categorize Silver Coin.
Spawn is in Silver Coin?
Number 7. Issue 7 is the one. Oh, there's that's the one down in Ron V did that one.
That's cool.
There's another video game one too. Maybe that. Jeff, are you thinking of the video game one, which that's issue 6? Is that the one you're thinking of? The video game one?
He says it has Spawn in it.
I can't remember if issue 6 has.
I need to read. I know
the one by Joshua Williamson.
He said 7 or 8.
Okay.
I have I think the first volume of this somewhere. I need to read it.
Yeah, highly recommended for any horror fans out there. Yeah, that's the best. That's the best thing about that, Jeff. Is every issue kind of connects to each other, but every issue can be separate, and that's what you get when you have the writers on it. Rom V, Lemire, even Tynan's done one. Joni Christmas, she is the one who did issue number 13, one of my favorites. So I just love how. Yeah, it's a great name, outstanding name. So Silver Coin's my number 5. Chris, let's go with your number 4.
So for number 4, I kind of cheated. Here's the thing. It's the same book. They split it just to make some extra coin, if you will.
Right.
It's Marvel's X death or 10 deaths of Wolverine, 10 lives of Wolverine, or X.
Ooh, nice.
It's one story, kind of, and they just wanted to get extra money. But you just read it as one thing, and it's amazing. It is one of the best, or not one of the best, one of my favorite Wolverine stories in recent memory. Very, very good stuff. 2
Marvels back to back.
I like Marvel.
Oh, that surprises me, actually.
Well, the next 3 are not going to be surprising, so I figured I should get those out first.
Okay, throw some curveballs in.
Right, let's throw some curveball, but the next 3, if you know me, there, you know what's coming.
I remember when you were reading those, and you, much like a lot of Marvel things, I think it was tough to read as it was coming out. Much easier to read as it is now, all collected together.
It's because it was weekly.
Yeah. Jesus.
How expected.
All right. So my number 4, I cheated a little bit here, and I've included 2 books. That's from the Reckless series from Ed Brubaker, and oh crap, I forgot his name. Sean Phillips. Yeah. Ed Brubaker and Sean Phillips. They released The Ghost in You and Follow Me Down this year. The Reckless series has been one of my favorite comic books since they started doing it. I think it was just last year that they started releasing it. So original graphic novels every couple of months. Ed Brubaker is one of the best writers in all of comics, and the duo of he and Sean Phillips might be my favorite duo in all of comics. The crime noir nature to the stories, the storytelling from, I think it takes place just in the 70s and it goes, I think we're up into the late 80s now. Just the long form storytelling. I'm a big fan of the Criminal series from this duo as well. And the Reckless series is also really nice because the graphic novels are released hardcover. They look very good on a bookshelf side by side. That's also influenced my choice as well. So that would be the Reckless series that they released 2 books in 2022, The Ghost in You and Follow Me Down.
I don't think you cheated. I think that was perfectly fair.
No, that's fine. There are no rules.
I would like to check those out because I've heard a lot of good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Jeff chimed in. Emmet was right. Silver Coin issue 6, video game issue. Spawn is in it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna have to track that down because that just sounds cool.
Yeah. Oh, there's lots of good ones. Lots of good ones. So yeah. They're good, easy reads too. Like I said, you don't have to. You can read them out of order. It's all good.
This is Midlife Vices. Hey, we're a community. We can all share and stuff, you know.
That's right. We're all together here. This is what happens on a Sunday night.
This is what we do.
Hi, Chris. Let's go with your number 3.
Okay, this is where we're gonna get predictable. Rain is my number 3.
Okay.
I absolutely loved Rain last year. I think the year before, I was really on I can't speak. I was on an indie high in 2021 also with the Me You Love in the Dark and Layla Starr. So last year was all about Rain for me. Rain was just so good, and it really hit home with how sad it made you feel. And I think whenever a comic can get those kind of emotions from you, it's doing something right. So yeah, number 3 is Rain. So
I didn't have that one. Yeah, that almost made my honorable mentions. Something about that book shouldn't work. You know, it's about nails falling from the sky, like the weird nature of the plot of the comic shouldn't work. But something about it, you know, really does help, and it made me want to go back and read the short story.
Yeah, me too.
And now us talking about it really wants me to go back and read the short story. I like the art in it. I think it's Zoe Thurgood does the art. I really like that style. And Rain, like there are a couple moments in the I think it's 5 issues that's tough. Yeah, like I said, it's quite the sad book. And really, I think if you're into the indie stuff, I'm sure you've read it already. But yeah, that's definitely one for sure that everyone should be checking out.
The ending is quite a gut punch too.
Yeah, for sure.
Like the ending of Rain is not one I saw coming. So yeah, the Rain is just awesome.
Hey Chris, how's it going? My number 3, I've got Dark Knights of Steel. Tom Taylor. Yeah, so that's good. It's, I think I gotta double check my list. My favorite DC comic from the entire year of 2022. Tom Taylor is awesome. I love Tom Taylor and everything that he writes almost. But there was something about a retelling of our favorite DC superhero origin story based into the lore of King Arthur. or the that kind of thing. And the story is violent in a lot of different places. Uh, thanks, Ian. But I just like the mythology of it. I like the elves, and how Bruce and Clark are related, and how Tom Taylor and company have blended in the mythology of like a King Arthur thing with the characters of DC. I think it was the first 6 or 7 issues that came out in 2022. I can't remember. Again, a very nice hardcover. Looks very good on a shelf. Very much influenced my thoughts as well. But it's got good characters, and it's got all the characters. Like, it's not just a Batman story. There's the Superman side of things, and then there's the Batman side of things. But Constantine's in there, Wonder Woman's in
I
there.
didn't know that.
It's the entirety of yes, 6 is in the first hardcover. Thank you, Wayne. It's the entirety of the DC universe blended into the old medieval times, as it were. So Dark Knights of Steel, very cool name for a comic as well. That's my number 3.
Yeah, that sounds like a book I would love, and I don't know how I actually missed this book.
Yeah,
because on paper, medieval stuff, Batman is in it. I should be eating this up.
Yeah.
And it's Tom Taylor, which I also love Tom Taylor, so I'm gonna have to get to that as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's got Batman rides a dragon, so in a full steel armor. So yeah. Amanda Waller is in it. Harley Quinn, everyone. Very good.
Did you happen to see the Joker dragon from Dark Knight Metal?
What do you mean see?
I mean, did you see it in the comic or any images of it?
I think so.
It's pretty badass looking. Does a dragon look like that, or are we talking like a real dragon?
No, it's like
as real as a dragon can get, I suppose.
Yeah, it's like a real dragon, a couple 1,000 years ago. There's a real dragon. Yeah, it's like a Game of Thrones type of dragon.
Okay, I guess that's what I should have said. It's like a Game of Thrones dragon. What are we talking?
Yeah.
There's a difference.
Yeah, that's true.
Amanda Waller is also in it. That's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Harley Quinn and Waller.
Yep. All right, so that's my number 3.
Yes. So my number
top 2, Chris. Yeah, top 2. This is gonna. So your 2 is gonna tell everybody what your number 1 is. By the way.
No. I don't think so.
All right, go for it.
All right. It's So I decided just to call this a series instead of going one book. Batman One Bad Day is my number 2.
Yep.
I really like these. I think they're very well done. Excuse me. They give you a good look at the villains, and they're not just like going for the Joker, or well, I guess they're going for everybody but the Joker. So I just like the way they're doing this, and the Mr. Freeze, the Two-Face one hits really well for me because it's from Mariko Tamaki, who I also love, and it's Two-Face, who is my number 2 villain, no pun intended. So yeah, the One Bad Day series is definitely my number 2. There's a lot of 2s in that sentiment. A lot of 2s.
But it's a very nice choice of words.
Yeah, a lot of 2s.
Yeah, I'm excited to see where the series goes for 2023 because we've got the Bane one coming out soon. Yeah. Catwoman one's coming out soon. And I think there's a Ra's al Ghul one as well.
Is there? I think that's the one I'm doing. There's one I was really not interested in at all. I think it might be that one, just because we've had a lot of Rish.
Sure.
He's like the Joker. I mean, people complain the Joker's and everything. No, that guy is too. He is everywhere. How many times can we tell this immortal man story?
Yeah.
I guess a lot, though.
The Riddler one was in my honorable mentions.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Just the first one. I'm with Chris, and from Lost in Comics, Mr. Freeze one is my second favorite one. I really like that one. But the Penguin one, ooh, boy, that's a good one, too.
We don't have any Liefeld on. I know there's no Liefeld on my list.
No, none of mine either.
Okay. No Liefeld. Who is this Liefeld?
Yeah. Did you see how they're going to be collecting One Bad Day?
I did, and they're adding the Killing Joke.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird. I don't know if I like that.
Yeah, people don't have the Killing Joke already. Who doesn't own the Killing Joke?
Well, I actually don't, but
come on.
But there's a reason for that. I don't want to.
Exactly. Well,
I don't want to.
I don't want to.
But I get why I get why it's included, but
Mhm.
I don't think it was necessary.
Yeah,
It's
I just
Batman
I
one
like the
bad
hard
day.
I like the hardcover nature to it though. That's what I was kind of hoping for, but no, I don't need Killing Joke again either. So just
No.
maybe they'll change it up when it's all released and all done, and I don't know. We'll see.
Chris said, I don't think Lionfield's making any list, unfortunately. Only if the pouch has made one. We need to get David on here and ask him.
Yeah, well, we can talk about Gun Honey too.
Gun Honey's not bad though.
Oh, I agree. I am a big fan of Gun Honey.
You just gotta get past the covers.
That's right. Okay, my number 2 from Daniel Warren Johnson. Do Power Bomb. Much like Paul Dano and Colin Farrell are underappreciated by me, Daniel Warren Johnson, I underappreciated his talent as a writer and as an artist. I was going into this comic thinking that it was going to be foolishly. I went into this comic thinking it was just going to be about wrestling and goofiness would entail. But I didn't think about Wonder Woman Dead Earth. I wasn't thinking about Murder Falcon at the time. Doer Power Bomb has all the feels that every good comic, I think, every great comic, some of your favorite comics have that make you feel a certain way. And it's also got the badassery that is our main characters doing, flips and wrestling moves off the top rope. And spoiler alert for the last issue, Chris, because I know you haven't read it yet, but they literally wrestle God. So if that doesn't make you want to be excited about Do a Power Bomb and get excited about the ending, which is sad, it's just beautiful, it's just Do a Power Bomb. And for a comic that's called Do a Power Bomb, it is one of the best comics of the year. And like I said, foolishly for myself, I didn't expect what I was getting myself into with Do a Power Bomb. But it's got everything that's great about lots of things. It's got the badassness to it, but then it's also got the feels, the emotion, the family, which also always hits very hard for me. It's just awesome. Everything about it. I know the art's not the favorite of some people, of a lot of people. I don't think Daniel Warren Johnson's got the wide appeal for his art, but I think it works very specifically for his style of writing. So my number 2 is Do a Power Bomb.
Steve says, I've watched people wrestle God since the early 80s, but he goes by Ric Flair. I like that.
Very, very good, sir.
That was good. I like your style on that one. Yeah, I will Do a Power Bomb. I am one of those people who have a problem with the art, and it makes it hard for me to read it.
Yeah.
But I have to at some point, because I did like the first issue a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I thought the first issue was great, so I want to read it. I just have to get past that art. It's not for me.
I agree, and I totally understand that too. It's not like I can look at it and be like, everyone's gonna love this.
Right.
But it's I've got all the single issues, and this will be something that I collect hardcover as well. Because the Murder Falcon hardcover that came out, I think it was just this past year, maybe the year before, I can't remember.
It was recent.
Is a beautiful hardcover, beautiful book all around, and I have no doubt that Do a Power Bomb will be the same as well.
What about Jurassic League? Nobody talks about that.
Yes, see, that was in my honorable mentions as well.
Oh, okay.
And if we would done more of our more specific things about comics, favorite covers, favorite writer, that kind of thing. My favorite cover is from Jurassic League #1, the variant from, I think the gentleman's name is Juan Gideon, where it's Batasaur with a white background. Anyways,
I don't think I remember that.
It's very, very good. Then see, that series right there is what I expected going into Do a Power Bomb. It's just, our DC characters is dinosaurs, and this is kind of fun and goofy. But then the emotion of what Do a Power Bomb is just leveled up that much more.
Cool.
All right, Chris, our number one favorite comic of 2022.
My number 1 of the year is Twig.
Yep.
Twigvolution. I love Twig. Twig also is the biggest surprise to me because it's not a subject I would normally want to read. Mm-hmm. It's a cutesy little comic, Or that's what it looks like when you start flipping through it, but it actually got pretty dark.
Yep.
Grab said this is where Chris loses me because I don't think that everybody appreciates Twig yet, but they will. In time, Twig will become bigger.
In time.
In time. But yeah, Twig is definitely my number one. I really, really love this book. It took me completely by surprise. The art in it to me is amazing. The story is not really complicated. It's simple. It's easy to read, and it's just fun. And the characters are very I don't know. I just enjoy them. So, Twig. Twig will become a lot.
If at the start of 2022, if we were to ask Chris what your favorite comic of the year would be, a little blue character named Twig, you saying that would be your favorite comic of the year would have surprised everyone. It would have surprised you.
Yeah.
It still surprises me that you like this comic as much as you do. There is something about the book that is innocent as well as imaginative, and it's got stuff that makes you like the pay. I want to read the book in physical copy because I only read it digitally. I can imagine that it would look great on a physical copy as well. There's a lot to like about Twig, and I hope there's more Twig.
It does say he will return.
More. Yes, Twig will return.
We're waiting. We're all waiting.
So more or less, I'm happy about the Twig evolution for you, Chris. I'm happy that you found a little indie comic to be your number one favorite comic of 2022, because that surprises the hell out of me at the end of the year.
I think most people expect. Sorry.
That just surprised the hell out of me that the little comic that no one is giving a chance to in some cases is your favorite of the entire year.
I think most people would have thought it would have been a Batman book or one of the many vampire books I read this year.
Yeah, that's right.
But no, it's Twig.
Nice.
What's yours?
My number one favorite comic of the year is something that surprises me, and surprised me every time I tried to rearrange my top 5, and every time I thought, you know what, Doer Powerbomb is my favorite, and I still couldn't put it above it. And that would be The Closet from James Tynion and Gavin Fullerton as well. 3 issues, a comic that at the end of every issue, I was like, what is happening here? And we talked about it, Chris, when we were talking about it. I'm like, this is a horror comic. Where's the horror? And then by the end of the issue number 3, when you understand what the monster is in the story, who the monster is for the little boy in the story, for someone who has a little boy roughly around the same size and age in the story as that I do, it hit very hard to me about a healthy and strong parenting relationship. And there was something about the mood that Tynion put me in when just 2 people are talking. The first half of the first issue is a gentleman talking at a bar to the bartender. That's it. And the second half is he goes home and gets in a fight with his wife, and then a monster shows up, or an alien, or whatever you have you. So you and I talked about that in something I didn't mention when I was talking about Banshees of Inisherin. People talking. I love people talking. People just having conversations with people and how engrossing that can be. And that's what I found with The Closet. Every issue, every word, every panel had me engrossed and had me scared. I think it's the end of issue 2 where the little boy's getting dragged across the floor while his father and his friend are out by the fire drinking.
That's the second issue.
I was like, oh my God, like it's frightening and it's scary. But when you find out what is scary and what is frightening and what the monster is and how Tynion did that over the 3 issues, it surprised me, it floored me, and I can't stop thinking about it. Like I said, I wanted to put Doer Powerbomb because of how awesome it is and how cool it is and how emotional it is. But The Closet isn't those things. It's not awesome and it's not cool. But it just has stuck with me ever since I've read it, and I can't stop thinking about The Closet. And James Tynion, who can't write Batman, can write people talking and talk about family issues and growing up as a kid in a broken home. That's what he can write. And if he wants to write about that, I will read everything that he writes if he does it like that.
I think that's kind of where Tynan excels, though, is conversation. He writes really good conversation, even in the Bat books.
Mm-hmm.
The dialogue was never the problem. He's really good at it. And I'm with you. The Closet is an experience. I also love The Closet. It's on my honorable mentions list, which we'll get to. But
nice.
Yeah, The Closet was a really, really good book. And I remember the way we were reading that together. It was always fun to come back and, hey, did you see this?
That's right. Because we were waiting. Like, what is this monster? Is this gonna he's gonna kill the kid? And what is it? And then it's not anything what we were thinking about. So
yeah, I think you read it first, and you kind of prepared me for that.
That's right. Yeah.
So yeah, that was a really good book, The Closet.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so my top 5 again is Silver Coin, Reckless, The Ghost in You, and Follow Me Down. And number 4, number 3, I had Dark Knights of Steel. Number 2, I had Do a Powerbomb, and number 1, I had The Closet.
Have you watched the Babadook?
I have not seen the Babadook. No.
Okay, I have no idea what that is, so I can't answer your question. I'm sorry.
Don't know.
I think that's the little demon thing, isn't it?
Don't know.
In the doorway, maybe not. I don't know. Put Tynan on his Spawn book so they stop narrating. That'd be funny. My top 5 was number 5 is Moon Knight. Number 4 is 10 of Deaths, 10 of Lives, Wolverine. Number 3 was Rain. Number 2 is Batman One Bad Day. And number 1 is Twig because he deserves it.
And some of your honorable mentions you had in there?
The Closet, Little Monsters, and Bloodstained Teeth.
Oh, nice. I had Saga that came back this year. I had Batman One Dark Knight from Jock. I had Vicious Circle, only 1 issue from Lee Bermejo and Mattson Tomlin. And I had Bolero as well that came out this year that I totally forgot about.
I like that a lot. I forgot about that. That was with the cat, right?
That's right, yeah.
Yeah, I like that a lot.
Yeah, Bolero was one of my honorable mentions as well.
There was too many books last year.
Yeah, that they took up most of my honorable mentions as well. All right, guys, so that's our top 5 favorite comics of the year. Chris, let's get into TV. Our top 5 favorite TV shows, TV series of the year.
Programs.
Programs. Hourly long or half-hourly long program shows. Okay, Chris, let's go with your number 5.
Are we reading other people's first?
Yes, we'll do that. Thank you.
Okay.
Good for reminding me about that. Okay, so Lorraine Cookie had Interview with a Vampire, had Stranger Things, Wednesday, Cabinet of Curiosities, and Rings of Power. Phil had Stranger Things, had Kenobi on there, Andor, Wednesday, and Interview with a Vampire. And our man Aaron had Andor, Yellowstone. He had She-Hulk episode 8. I'm not sure what happened in episode 8. Maybe Daredevil showed up. Moon Knight and Peacemaker as well. That rounded out his 5 favorite TV shows.
So Travis came in just in time because he asked if someone has Peacemaker on their top 5.
There you go. Aaron's got it. Aaron's got
it. What's your number 5?
Oh, all right. I got to go back to my list here. This one was tough because I watched a lot of TV this year over movies, which we'll get to. Okay, so my number 5 is Only Murders in the Building, Season 2. Every week was a delight to watch this show. And more than that, the season finale was one of the best season finales that I had seen. I can't stop thinking about Steve Martin and that tomato. And the slow motion. Cannot stop thinking about that and how hilariously that shouldn't have worked, but it worked 100% because Steve Martin's a genius. I also very much appreciated the last 5 minutes of the season, getting it set up for season 3, storytelling, the subverting of expectations constantly. It's a delight. It's one of my favorite TV shows. It's one of the best TV shows that also I can talk about with my mother. It's hard to talk about some of these TV shows because they have comics in them or violence in them. Only Murders in the Building is that threshold of it breaks the line between geek and normal people, regular people. Anyone can watch the show. Much like it's like a Ted Lasso kind of deal. It breaks through the walls of genre, if you were, because it's just damn good show. It's written very well. It's acted very well. So yes, Only Murders in the Building season 2 is my number 5 favorite TV show of the year. Chris, what's your number 5?
That was a solid pick. My number 5 is Succession on HBO.
Oh, that came out that year. Oh,
yes, it did.
Damn.
I discovered it last year because I kept seeing people talk about it, getting ready for the new season. Like, well, what is Succession?
Mm-hmm.
And Succession is my number 5. It is amazing. It's like a modern day Mad Men, kind of. And Mad Men is one of my favorite TV series ever. So to get like an updated version of that with a modern setting, yes. Also, Logan Roy is, I think, just a gem.
I'm so happy you found that show. I'm so happy you finally watched it.
It's so good. It really is.
And you binged it too, didn't you?
Yeah, but it took me a while because it's such a heavy series. It's not something you could just or I could just watch like blocks and blocks of episodes.
Well, that's what I was thinking. Like, oh, it's like specifically that the second season is very hard on Kendall. It's like, oh man, and it's like what I can't remember what the hell's Roman. I'm like, oh, this Roman and his dick pic, and it's like, oh my god, it's like there's so much in that season that's so funny and it's so beautifully acted, beyond well acted. I'm glad you finally got on the Succession bandwagon.
Yeah, Succession is amazing. I can't wait for the new season.
Yeah, is that this year? Later in the year?
It might be. I hope it is. I kind of miss the Roys because also when you binge watch something that's still going on, you immediately want that new season because you got used to watching blocks of it. Even if you only watch 2 episodes at a time, it's still where's the rest of it?
I get it. So it leaves you wanting more.
Yes. Succession is some of the best writing I've seen in a TV show. I agree.
Mm-hmm.
Will Emmet and Zeddy do a podcast again in 2023? Yes or no? What are you two up to?
I don't know. I wrote yes in the comments, but I have no idea what he's talking about.
Zeddy's up to something.
Zeddy. Zeddy's always up to something. Okay. My number 4 favorite TV show of the year is Better Call Saul. I think it's season 5, season 6. Anyways, the final season. I have a fondness for the Breaking Bad universe, as it were, but I find Better Call Saul to be the superior show in lots of instances. How you can build a show off of Bob Odenkirk. Bob Odenkirk is a laughable Saul Goodman at times in Breaking Bad to the strongest character in I think one of my favorite and most strong character of 2022 is Saul Goodman. But on top of that, it's got one of the best actresses in a TV show, Rhea Seehorn, as his girlfriend. I can't remember her name right now. Somebody help me out if they've seen Better Call Saul. Anyway, so it's the finale. I thought it was beautifully done. I thought it wrapped up the storyline from Breaking Bad as well, mixed in there with the kind of the flashbacks, flash forwards. Bob Odenkirk is an underappreciated actor because he's he's the goof. He's the guy from Mr. Show with David Cross, or from lots of other things that you can think about with, goofy Bob Odenkirk. But his dramatic acting in Better Call Saul is some of my favorite, and just it's nice when a show ends and you feel satisfied about it, because there's lots of shows that end and you're just like, that didn't work, or right. I wish they'd done another episode, or I wish they didn't do as many episodes or whatever. But it's nice when a show ends and you feel satisfaction, and that's what I got with the season finale of Better Call Saul, was satisfaction.
I haven't watched. I was waiting for it to be completed so I could watch it.
Kim Wexler, that's it. Thank you, Steve. Yeah, and assuming you've seen all of Breaking Bad.
Yeah, I love Breaking
Bad. I think you'll like it then. It's much different, but I think the story goes in a different place than it needs to because of Breaking Bad. It couldn't be Breaking Bad 2.0 or whatever.
Grav makes a good question. Is it weird that Breaking Bad took 2 comedy actors and made them amazing dramatic actors?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Bryan Cranston from Malcolm in the Middle, Bob Odenkirk from Mr. Show. You know.
I really didn't know Bryan Cranston before. Like I'd seen him and stuff, but he was never like a big deal for me. But now he is. He's amazing. Jeff says the movie Nobody was surprisingly good with Bob. Yeah, that's what I was thinking of.
I thought it was a lot of fun.
It was like a great surprise because I didn't expect anything from that movie.
Yeah,
but it was really good.
I didn't know Christopher Lloyd was in it, and I loved
didn't either.
Seeing him wield a double barrel shotgun.
It was great seeing him in something again. Steve says both those shows are fantastic, and it made Breaking Bad even better for me the second time after seeing the entire series. Well, that's a cool kind of thing from it. So this adds to the lore and stuff, I guess. It has because I know, of course, it has Bryan Cranston in it at some point. Isn't the character Gus in it too?
Oh yeah,
it's
not a spoiler. He's in it a lot, and a lot more than I expected him to be as well. Yep.
How I Met Your Mother, Cranston was a sitcom standard.
He was in How I Met Your Mother?
Was he? I don't remember. He might have been. That show had a lot of guest stars, so I don't remember.
Yeah, there you go.
I recently started watching How I Met Your Father, but we'll talk about that another time.
Yeah. All right, Chris, let's go to your number 4.
My number 4 is Only Murders in the Building. For basically the same reasons you said. It's amazing. I love it.
Good.
I can't wait for the next one. Oh, he was Ted's boss. That's right. I remember now. And then he was sleeping in the office. I remember that now. Okay. So my number 4 is Only Murders in the Building.
Can't wait for season 3. So eager. Like it feels like we really want Ted Lasso season 3, but man, I really want Only Murders in the Building season 3.
I don't know if I can handle them both on at the same time.
Yeah, well, if Ted Lasso ever comes out,
it will eventually, and sometime in our life, it will come out.
Sometime in our life.
I hope so. Come on now. Please.
There we go. But, I was going to say you reorganize your desk. I was going to ask if you still have
still there.
It's there. Good.
But yeah, you just can't go wrong with Only Murders in the Building. Every episode hits. Mm-hmm. What's your number 3?
All right, so my number 3 is Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power. Something that I really started thinking about recently, that I kept we had talked about going back and rewatching the whole thing again. Mm-hmm. And that's what I'm going to do that over the next little while, is go back and rewatch the entirety of the show right after one another. It's the best looking show of 2022. It's most beautifully shot. It's got some of the best moments, some of the best mythology. The story is huge. The scope of everything that's in the show is huge. Again, people talking. Durin and Elrond talking are some of the best moments in all of 2022 for me. But then there's more. There's Nori talking, and then what's her name? Poppy? Yeah. Poppy. I had, and it's something that I thought about. Rings of Power initially wasn't on my list of my top 5 either.
Really?
And then and I had to think about it because I had something that wasn't. It's in my honorable mentions now. I had Yellow Jackets in my top 5 before, and I just, the more I thought about Rings of Power, it's just more I remember how much I loved it. And how much I just want to embrace it again, and how I want to get back into that world again. Back in Middle Earth or early Middle Earth or whatever what have you.
Earlier.
I just want to be back. Yeah, I just really want to be back in Rings of Power, and I just want to watch Rings of Power again, because I remember when we were talking about it, Chris, and when we were watching it, the high fantasy of Rings of Power it was beyond what I was expecting. I love Rings of Power. I loved a lot of Rings of Power. I'm not going to say everything about it, but there's just something about that show. And maybe it was, again, us just talking about it every week was certainly very nice. But yeah, my number 3, Rings of Power.
I love Rings of Power. Rings of Power was just a great time, and it was fun to be in that world, like you said. So much good in that show. I think a lot of people did not like it, which kind of surprised me, but each their own. Like what you like. You
got her.
If you don't have ghosts, if you don't have ghosts on your list, then your list is completely irrelevant. Well then, I'm sorry.
Yeah, turn it off now, Steve.
I'm trying to remember what I wanted to watch that, but I just didn't get around to it.
Mhm.
My number 3 is Moon Knight.
Ooh,
Yeah,
that
Moon
surprises
Knight.
me.
Moon Knight was an experience for me because it's a character I absolutely love. Never thought I'd see him on screen. Never
Mhm.
thought I'd have we can actually like Oscar Isaac as Moon Knight, which is even
Mhm.
better. For all its shortcomings, though, I still really, really enjoyed it,
Yeah.
and it was a great time talking with you and Aaron about it every week.
Mhm.
So yeah, Moon Knight it's top 3 for me. It's number 3. I enjoyed it, and I'm hoping we see the character again because I think they did enough good in the series that they could do some more.
Mhm. I liked my introduction to Moon Knight in 2022. I
What?
read more. I read more comics of Moon Knight. I read. I got the Lemire run in 2022, and then obviously watched the show. So I like my slight understanding of Moon Knight in 2022. I
That
like
works.
that. I like that happening in 2022, and the show. I like the show overall as well. I just like being introduced to the character of Moon Knight in 2022. That was a nice surprise that I didn't see coming.
It did its job, I think,
Yep.
mostly. Except for that last episode, but I don't want to talk about that. Steve says, I wanted to love Moon Knight. It had some really great stuff. There was a little too much, required a lot of focus to know what was going on, but I liked it. I could agree with that. What's your next one?
Oh, my number 2. I've got The Boys season 3. I think it's the best superhero for me. It's my favorite superhero show of 2022. I think it's got some of the craziest, most disgusting, wildest scenes, specifically in the opening 15 minutes of season 3 that you'll ever see on TV. But I think like the comic book itself and what it's based off of, it's got all that stupid, wild, crazy, zany stuff, but then it's got the real stuff in there as well. It's got the human moments as well as the meta human moments as well. But I'm a huge sucker for Carl Urban, who's
Mm-hmm.
outstanding. Jack Quaid's kind of growing on me a little bit. I can't remember the Anthony somebody. He plays
Anthony
Homelander.
Starr.
Anthony Starr, one of the better villains of 2022 as well. Yeah, I had a great time with The Boys, and it makes me want to read the comic. But then when you find out the comic's like 70 issues, I don't have any time for that. So that's why the show is so good for me. But I just like how crazy and stupid and disgusting it can be, but then it's blended in with the stuff that matters. And like there's the racial issues, the I don't like speaking like this because I'm a Canadian, but the outward looking at the issues going on in America right now and society blended in with the boys as well. The media, fascism, all of that stuff blended into a superhero comic TV show. So that would be The Boys season number 3. I don't like comedy as much as the show. Interesting. Oh, Euphoria. Ooh, ooh, ooh.
That's a pretty good pick. I still have not seen it, so I can't comment too much. I know everybody loves it. Looks cool. I also like Carl Urban. We're good.
Move on.
My number 2 is It's Rings of Power for basically the reasons you said. I had pretty much the same reaction to it as you did most of the time. I really enjoyed every episode. I think that it was a little bit slow at the start, but that's okay. Once it got moving. It got moving. Like good character stuff. I enjoy that it kept us guessing about, not so much who this character is, who that character is, just what's going on.
Yeah.
So it was cool to do that, and then talking about it, of course, every week was fun. And most of all, though, I just love Lord of the Rings. So it was nice to have this new epic chapter to it, and it's going to be ongoing where we're going to get more of it. So
Yes.
I was really happy with Rings of Power, and we were so excited for it too, going in. So
yeah.
I'm glad that it paid off for us.
Yeah. It did pay off for us, and it would have been a shame if it didn't. because we had talked about that when we were talking about House of the Dragon, Rings of Power, talking about some things. So, yeah, I'm excited. More Lord of the Rings, everything.
All the Lord of the Rings.
All
the rings. Your number one?
My number one is 1883, the Yellowstone prequel. There is an episode, I think it's episode 6. It's called The Crossing. I basically cried the entire episode. But in a good way. It's very sad, yes, but Sam Elliott is incredible, and he's so damn good. But Tim McGraw and Faith Hill are in the show, and I went into the show thinking, Tim McGraw, Faith Hill, this is not going to be good. They're going to ruin this for me in some way or shape or form. I'd only seen Tim McGraw in The Blind Spot, I think, and I don't know if I'd seen Faith Hill acting in anything before.
I think she's been in stuff, but like TV kind of things.
Yeah, and it's funny. This Christmas, me and my wife watched 4 Christmases, and Tim McGraw's in that as well.
Yes.
He's one of Vince Vaughn's brothers. Him and John Favreau.
Yes, he is.
Anyways, he looks like he's 300 pounds. So I'm a big fan of the Yellowstone universe overall. Obviously, Yellowstone and the 1923 that's airing right now, but 1883. The story of why the Yellowstone Ranch is so important. And then, so Sam Elliott, it's almost to a point, and it's almost a little annoying, but every shot and every word spoken is important. It's almost like you can't think about something else for a minute, because everything is so important. Everything is so meaningful. Everything is shot so specifically, and I had an awesome time with the Western aspect of it. I'm a big fan of Westerns, but like Yellowstone is a modern day Western. 1883, obviously, very much a Western. But Sam Elliott sold it to me over and over again. Billy Bob Thornton's in it for an episode. The emotional journey that I wasn't expecting that was going to happen in this season. The story about immigrants coming to America and trying to find a better life, and how that didn't work out so well for a lot of them. The hard living of people trying to make it before there was an America kind of thing, or any kind of country. It could be anywhere. But it really helps if you've seen Yellowstone and blended these all together, seeing about why things are so important, why people are important, why family is important, why where you live is important. I was very surprised with 1883 because I thought it was going to be more or less like Yellowstone, but it's more than Yellowstone. It's not as Yellowstone's like a soap opera. 1883 is not like that, and maybe that's because it's the anthology nature of the prequel shows. 1923 is the same kind of deal. But yeah, it's much like The Closet. I can't stop thinking about episode 6 of 1883, The Crossing. It's so heartfelt. It's so everything. Yeah, big fan of 1883. 1923 is very good as well. Exactly. Sam Elliott is never dying. And this is my favorite thing he's ever done.
Really?
He's so good in it. It's just, he blew my mind how good he is. Yep, 1923 is very good, Steve. Harrison Ford in it as well.
Do you think the spinoffs are better than Yellowstone itself?
Yep, it is 100%. They're better made shows.
Interesting.
Yep.
Maybe I'll start with 1823. We're 80.
No, you got to start. Watch the first season of Yellowstone and then go back, because you gotta get a sense of the ranch, get a sense of it first, and then you go back.
Okay, I can work on that.
Mm-hmm. And 1923 is great. It's got Harrison Ford in it, Helen Mirren. And 1923 is beyond what I was expecting too, because there's an African storyline, like the character in Africa. So yeah. What's in your favorite movie? Oh boy, where's he going with it?
I'm not sure.
Was he in Battleship?
Oh, I think he might have been in Battleship.
Oh boy.
We're using the scale on this one.
Yeah.
So my number one is pretty predictable. It was Interview with the Vampire.
Mm-hmm.
That's a show that I've spoken at length and probably annoyed people with at this point. But excuse me, I love the show. I was very excited going into the show because of my my attachment to those characters and the source material. And the TV series itself was a different beast, sort of, compared
Mm-hmm.
to what I was familiar with. But I was happy that I was able to kind of put the fan stuff aside and just watch it for what it is. And I really came out loving it. That's another one that ironic. The top three on my list are the ones we did podcast about. But we really had just such a good time talking about this one too, with you, and also Cookie was with us. But more so, it was just nice to see these characters on screen again for me, and to see them done so well. It was really cool for me, because a lot of times when something is adapted, especially when it's a book, I think when it comes to comics, we've hit a point where most of the time you're going to see your character represented in a certain way it's familiar to you and it fits. Whereas I think we're still at a point with when it's a book, you don't know what you're going to get on screen. Unless it's Lord of the Rings or something like that. So to see Interview with the Vampire adapted the way that it was for TV just now, I was surprised by it. I just love it. And that's another one. Can't wait for the next season, which I think is a ways off, unfortunately.
I had a great time watching Interview with the Vampire. I loved how it looked. I loved the setting of Interview with the Vampire. I liked every week trying to wonder where the story was going next, specifically basing it off of the little knowledge I have of the movie. All of the changes that they made, and again, people talking, the stuff with Malloy, Daniel, and Louis just talking, having a conversation, were some of my favorite moments in that show. But then also like the New Orleans stuff, I thought the setting was outstanding. The violence was fun at times for me.
It was fun.
And then, how a character like Claudia, how we were very sour on in that first episode. And then by the end of it, the end of the show, how we really liked Claudia and we liked the characterization. Yeah. We loved how it all changed, and, the Lestat stuff and his, every time I think about Lestat now, as I just think about Lestat on that train, doing his accent with that guy and his jaw, just, oh man. Just there's a lot to like about that show, and questionable stuff as well, but I think that makes for just interesting conversation.
It does, and it's just a great show.
Yeah, I agree. Emmet hates silent movies. I don't know if I've ever seen a silent movie.
I have.
I'm not sure. Which one have you seen?
Phantom of the Opera.
Oh, there you go. Okay. That's our favorite TV shows of the year. So I had...
Was it honorable mentions?
Yeah. So my honorable mention, I had Yellow Jackets in there. It's kind of like Lord of the Flies, but with the present day stuff being just as important as the past stuff when they were kids. And then I had Interview with a Vampire as well. And I also had for Eric, Strange New Worlds, Star Trek. Some of the best Star Trek that's come out in the last 20 years or more. Strange New Worlds. That damn beautiful man. What the hell's his name?
The Batman guy.
Yeah, the Batman guy. The guy should be Batman. Yeah, it should be Batman. I can't remember his name. Yeah, Anson Mount. That's right. That beautiful bastard. I'll watch him any day. So there's some of my honorable mentions.
Steve's right. My honorable mentions are Euphoria, Wednesday, Obi-Wan, and Sandman.
Yeah, Wednesday got a lot of love from Phil and from Cookie in our list as well. I'm surprised. I'm not surprised, but I'm so glad I got a season 2 renewal.
Yeah, pretty excited. Wednesday was great.
Yeah. Another one I was quite surprised about.
You want to go over your top 5 again?
Yeah, so my top 5, I had Only Murders in the Building at number 5, season finale of Better Call Saul at number 4, Rings of Power at number 3, The Boys at number 2, and then 1883 was my favorite show of 2022, and also one that came out the earliest. I think the first episode aired in December and then finished in February, so I've been holding on to that one for a while.
My number 5 was Succession, number 4 was Only Murders in the Building, 3 was Moon Knight, 2 is Rings of Power, and 1 is Interview with the Vampire.
Nice. A lot of people have Andor on their list as well. I really gotta get to finishing that show.
I will do it eventually. It's really good. I really liked what I saw. I just haven't had time.
Mm-hmm. All right, Chris, let's get to our favorite movies of 2022.
The other guy's favorite first.
All right. Thank you for reminding me.
Now, what's funny is Emmet asked me before we started.
I have it written down. I just got to forget to go back.
But I also thought we were going to do all of them first and then us.
I know. I probably should have done that instead of going back and forth, but that's fine. All right. So, Cookie, some of her favorite movies, she had Prey, Barbarian, Everything Everywhere All at Once, and The Black Phone. Phil had The Batman, Halloween Ends, Everything Everywhere All at Once. He had Violent Night, and he had Pearl in there. I want to see Violent Night. That looks like a lot of fun. Aaron had Top Gun Maverick, The Black Phone, 13 Lives, Prey, and The Batman. Chris, let's go with your number 5 favorite movie of the year.
Bones and All. No, we can do cannibals. Like Nico said, we can do cannibals now.
Oh, geez, Louise, man. All right, why?
I don't even know why. I don't know. It's when you watch this movie, you're not expecting to love it because of what it is, but you become so engrossed in this story and these characters, and you can't look away from it. And when the gore happens, it's so okay. This is gonna sound weird. It's tastefully done.
Terrible play on words.
It's not even a play. It's just real. It is tastefully done, and it's never too much, so you don't really get that cringe from it, But it's just it's a journey, and it's a journey you don't want to stop. Like I could have watched more of this movie. Like when it ends, I was like, "Well, where are we going now? What's happening, guys? Come on now!" I would have watched more of it. So yeah, Bones and All, firmly number 5. Great performances, engrossing story. You just can't stop watching it, and the characters are just it's an experience. You gotta watch it.
I agree that it's an experience. I'm just not sure I want to get in on that experience.
Embrace cannibalism.
Embrace cannibalism.
just give it a hug.
Is that surprising to you that it's on your list? Are you surprised that you even like this movie?
I didn't even know what it was. Yeah. I'd seen 2 of our friends post about it. I was like, well, what is it? And then I just read so much about it, like good reviews. Like, well, I guess I'll check it out. And I surprised myself with it. I was just sucked into it for the 2-hour runtime.
That surprises the hell out of me. That's for sure.
Give it a hug. You'll like it.
Give cannibalism a hug.
Just try it. Not the cannibalism, the movie.
I get it.
I'm not going to. You do what you want. I'm not going to judge you.
No judgment here.
No, we're cool. Just maybe don't talk about that as much.
All right, my number 5. I have Scream. I guess it's called Scream 6 or Scream 5. Scream 5.
I think it's 5.
6 is coming out this year. I love the Scream franchise. It seems like a franchise that is going to be never ending as well. But I had a lot of fun with Scream. Had the emergence of Jenna Ortega as well. Had Jack Quaid in it, which I'm again second thing that had Jack Quaid in it this year. I like seeing Dewey come back. I like seeing Nev Campbell come back and Courtney Cox and all that kind of stuff. I had a great time with Scream. It's a very accessible horror movie. It's also, Scream, the first one is one of my favorite horror movies, not very original, but I just love Scream. I loved everything about the new one and kind of the relaunching of the new Scream universe for the modern era, as it were. So that's my number 5 favorite of the year.
Excellent choice. I also love Scream.
Mm-hmm.
Scream was great. I'm very excited for the new one set in New York. That's going to be fun.
So strange. Yeah, so different. It's like, wait a second. Is all of a sudden he's Friday the 13th? He's Jason going to Manhattan? Like, what's going on here?
I hope he kicks a trash can or she kicks a trash can.
That's right. Or
I
whoever.
hope it's somewhere in the movie. My number 4 is Top Gun Maverick.
Ooh.
Which is, before this movie came out, I had no interest in the Top Gun franchise at all. But as we know, our friend Zeddy is a super Top Gun fan. And his enthusiasm got me to watch the first one.
Oh, there you go.
I was like, okay, this is cool. I don't get the hype, but this is fine.
Mm-hmm.
And then I saw Maverick, and whoa, it's just such a fantastic movie.
Mm-hmm.
Like from start to finish. And it's a feel-good movie. It's not like a hard watch or anything. You can just throw it on. So many good things about it. All in for Top Gun Maverick. That is my number 4.
Yeah, we'll talk about Top Gun Maverick in a little bit.
Okay.
Scream takes Manhattan. Scream takes Manhattan. Yeah, let's do it. Yeah, Ghostface takes Manhattan. That's right.
It's gonna be good.
Okay, my number 4. I've got Nope from Jordan Peele. A reinvention of the alien invasion story with striking visuals, haunting at some points, very funny at some points. I had a great time with Nope, specifically with the differing nature of the alien, which I found the most interesting for me because I just seeing little green men in a flying saucer was not something that I was looking for, and Jordan Peele didn't give us that. He gave us something much more. But there's also the aspect of family history as well built into Nope as well, and the history of animals being treated poorly on movie sets over the years, being brought to the forefront as well. So a lot of different things happening in Nope. A lot of different things happening in Nope. A lot of different storylines, but the haunting opening scene with the monkey continued on to the last shot in the movie. So I had an awesome time. And the movie on my list, I think if I double check my list, it had me thinking the most, had me ruminating, had me most confused as well. Yeah, there you go. That's Nope is my number 4.
Nope was also a yep for me.
Yep.
I like it. Nope was pretty good.
That's good. I like that.
Number 3 for me was The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent.
There
was no way this
movie did make your list.
There was no way this was not going to be on my list. It just wasn't going to happen. I adore this movie. I just think it's fun. It's ridiculous. It's Nicolas Cage screaming for an hour and a half. There's even an imaginary younger Nicolas Cage in the movie. It's a gem. It is a cinematic gem, I think. And so that is why it is my number 3. It's just a wonderful. It's a fun movie. It really is.
I'm gonna get to it. I am telling myself I haven't seen it. Nope, haven't watched it yet. I'm going to. I'm gonna have to.
It's a good. It really is fun. It's easy watch.
And that's what I'm expecting. I'm just looking for something completely weird and over the top. You know, that's what I'm looking for.
Oh, it is. It's out there. You know you've hit a special point in the movie when Nicolas Cage is driving and the younger imaginary version of him is in the passenger seat. You just know you've hit a fun point in the
movie. Oh, dear. I don't know how you can explain that to somebody and they won't be instantly excited about seeing that movie. And that's what it is. Just the idea of the movie is exciting and interesting. Right?
On paper, it shouldn't work. It's ridiculous. Yeah. But it's also funny if you kind of follow Nicolas Cage's career and some of his personal life. I don't really care about celebrities' personal lives, but his is so public. Certain details are just kind of them,
Mm-hmm.
And so when you watch the movie, it's just really fitting. It's fun.
I look forward to watching it. Pedro Pascal, big fan of Pedro Pascal.
Him
so
too. He's also the best.
Getting to that. Okay, my number 3, I've got Prey. No, there's that little 2 or 3 week span when this came out, and then the Hellraiser came out. I'm like, oh, Hulu's got a little thing going on here. I had a great time with Prey. Again, not the biggest fan of the Predator series, but I like the action of Prey. I like the Native American aspect of Prey as well. I just thought it's very innovative how they, again, much like Scream, how they're moving a series forward. And I felt like Prey did that. I can't remember the young actress's name, but I thought as the lead, she was outstanding. Thank you. I just also thought the actual, somebody knows the name of the actual Predator. They'll let me know. I think Ian does. He's a smart fella. I thought the facial features of him was very cool. I thought he looked scary. I thought just the action kind of sold me on Prey. I just had a really awesome time with it. And I'm a sucker for action movies, and then the horror blended into it as well. So I had a great time with Prey. I don't know if looking at my list now, I don't know if I should have it at number 3, but I do. It's on there. There's really only a top 2 for me in movies now that I'm looking at it. But yeah, I had a lot of fun with Prey. Again, that's movies I want to see more of. I want to see where the series goes next. I want to see Prey in Manhattan, as far as I'm concerned.
I mean, there's Predator too.
Yeah, that's right.
I also love Prey, though. Prey is on my honorable mentions.
Nice.
I really, really like Prey a lot. And Aber Midthunder, whenever Marvel starts casting Laura for the X-Men, she's right there, guys.
Yep.
Get Amber as Laura. My number 2 is the Banshees of Inisherin.
Ooh, it is high for you.
Yeah, I love that movie. I thought it was fantastic. I like the relationships that they show in the movie. Even the sister had a really good part in it, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And she kind of, people don't talk about her role as much as I think she deserves.
Mm-hmm.
But she's awesome in it. The rest of the cast is outstanding. It's just something I really enjoyed. Also, though, I love In Bruges, so I'll pretty much watch anything this team puts out.
Yeah, it's almost like they need a trilogy of types of movies.
Yeah,
it can be anything. Yeah.
7 Psychopaths doesn't count as part of the trilogy, so
no, I don't think so.
No, but these two. Yeah.
Nice, yeah. Banshees of Inisherin, good stuff. And you mentioned the sister. There's that one scene where I think she's lying in bed and she's crying, and Colin Farrell's in the next bed, obviously next to her. Just like there's a lot of very good, emotional, well acted scenes in that movie, and just small, subtle stuff too. I really appreciated that about it. So, yep, that's Chris's number 2. So, my number 2 is Jeff. Speak of the devil, and he shall appear, is the Batman. Again, it's funny that the Batman came all the way back out in March. It feels like it feels forever ago.
It does.
2022 was a long year in general, but it went by very fast in a weird kind of stupid way. So yeah, the Batman. I remember watching it in theater, and I remember that was my final crux for going to see a movie that I really wanted to see in the theater, because I didn't not enjoy my experience, and I didn't like the movie overall. Watching it at home made me appreciate it so much more. Everything about it is very, very well. It's well shot. It's got a great score. Every actor in it is doing a fantastic job. Every actor, and it's got my favorite Bruce Wayne, and that would be Robert Pattinson as Bruce Wayne. He's my favorite Bruce Wayne. I also really enjoy his Batman. I just like the duality of the two characters that Pattinson has done. And Colin Farrell is the Penguin, and I look forward to seeing the Penguin hopefully again pretty soon. A scene that it's constant played in my head is that scene where he's tied up and Gordon and Batman are kind of interrogating him, and he's so he can get lost in all that makeup and the idea of the Penguin, but he's not. I had The action is very good. The car chase scene is very good. The gadgets is very good. The detective work. I don't know, Chris, I'll let you talk about it a little bit more when you get to your number one, I assume. Maybe, possibly, maybe.
Why
I
does
don't want to
everybody
spoil it
think
for
that?
you. But yeah, Batman. The Batman is then my number 2 favorite movie of the year.
That is a good choice there. I like that choice. My number one is it's the Batman. Yeah.
Mhm. Yep. Continue on then.
Yeah, the Batman is my number one. Anybody knows I love the Batman. He's my thing.
Mhm.
It's my,
Mhm.
Actually, I even have this guy with me on the desk at all times. Oh, I just
turn
screwed
your
up the
camera
mic or whatever I did. Hold on. Anytime now.
Oh, Phil, I like that your Pattinson is your favorite
There we
Batman.
go. Here he is.
Hey, look at that.
Hey, he's always on the desk. Yeah,
Nice.
the Batman was a special thing for me. There was so much going into that movie and all the waiting and the anticipation. And then when we finally got to it, it was kind of a relief that I enjoyed it as much as I did. You know, because going into it, there was so much. Was it going to be good? Is it not going to be? It's got to be good. It looks great. And it was. It really is. I love the Batman. It's so Batman Begins is my favorite Batman movie. Period. The Batman is, I think, neck and neck with it still. They're like 1-1 for me at the moment. I really, really love the Batman. I love the suit. I love the characterizations. I love the look of the film, the action. I even like the slow burn nature of it because it's not a very in your face, this is everything you need to know kind of movie.
Oh yeah.
You are Batman. You are finding out just as he does, and you may get it wrong just like he does. And you know, like you mentioned that scene with Gordon and the Penguin and him. You know, the good cop, batshit cop. I love that scene. It's so good. Also, I really love Jeffrey Wright's Gordon. So yeah, the Batman is undoubtedly my number one.
Nice. Yeah, it's funny you mentioned the Batman Begins is right there. If I was to watch a Batman movie, I'd put on 89 Batman or I'd put on the Batman. Those are the two that I would pick if I wanted a Batman experience.
Two good different Batman experiences. Also, this is the movie that gave us a noir Batman we've never really had on screen, which was nice. You know, Batman they usually play him up as this giant hero where the city's going to explode if he doesn't help us.
Sure.
Whereas this one, the city just floods. It didn't explode.
Yeah.
There's a lot of detective stuff, which was cool.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the detective stuff, specifically like the lenses, that kind of thing, recording everything. And I love the journal. I love the narration, the inner monologue. I think that's long overdue. And like, it just feels like a comic book. You know, he's soaring above the city and he's inner monologuing and narrating what's happening. And I just like the journal aspect of it.
And the opening.
Yep.
The opening is so good.
Well, Chris is watching the Batman tonight. That's the end
probably
of it.
Am. I think I've talked myself into it. What are your honorable mentions?
I haven't got to my number one yet.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm excited.
My number one, Top Gun Maverick. It's the movie that I watched the most this year. It's the movie that I had the most fun with this year. It's a movie that I can watch and I know what's exactly going to happen. I know that Hangman's going to come at the end and save them. I know that at the end, Rooster's going to, Maverick's going to say, "Thank you for saving my life." And Rooster's going to say, "It's what my dad would have done." I know that stuff's going to happen, and I still cry every time that it happens.
Yes.
It's just, there's nothing wrong with a feel-good movie being your favorite movie. There's nothing wrong with it. It's got a great soundtrack. That Lady Gaga song that my son plays nonstop and sings at the top of his lungs. It's great. It's a great song. It's got outstanding, I guess you call it action. It's, a different kind of action with the dog fighting and all that kind of stuff. I'm a big Tom Cruise fan as an actor. I can watch this movie anytime. Anytime I can put this movie on and have a great time with it. And it's something that's very surprising because it doesn't try to be anything that it's not. It's trying to be an 80s action movie. Tom Cruise is riding around on a motorcycle with no helmet on. It's like it's the 80s. Where's your helmet, man? Like you're gonna hit a rock and then you're gonna be dead, and it's gonna be the end of you. You know, it's got a lame. Yeah, that's right. It's got a lame piano song, just like the first one. It's like it shouldn't work. It's got Miles Teller with one of the worst mustaches you've ever seen in all of the world. It's got him. He's playing football on a beach with jean shorts on. It shouldn't work. It shouldn't be. But it all works. It all blends it together because it's got Iceman, the Val Kilmer stuff, and how they made that work with his throat cancer. How they made it blended into the story. How they brought in Rooster to go along with the Goose stuff. Like, and you don't have to have seen the first movie, because I think the Goose death means more in Maverick than it did in the first one. I think they played it off better, actually. I don't think it meant as much in the first one, because Goose dies and he goes off and does this thing, and that's the end of the story. Yoo-hoo. It just means so much. And specifically, there's the one scene, Miles Teller, Rooster, at the very end, he taps the picture of his dad on the corkboard, and it's just, I had a great time with Top Gun Maverick, and I will watch it constantly. And of movies that came out in a single year, I usually only watch a movie once, and then I'll watch it again, ongoing. I've seen, I don't often go to a movie theater more than once. I think I've done that with The Dark Knight. I think I saw it 3 times. But when a movie is released in a year, I usually only watch it once or twice. I've seen Top Gun Maverick 5 times, and I'll keep watching it. It's very uncommon for me to be continually watching a movie, but I wanted to watch it with my father-in-law. I watched it with my daughter. I watched it with my wife. I want more people to experience this movie, because I think that it's just a great goddamn time. It's a great goddamn time. I love everything about it.
I think that needs to be on the Blu-ray. Great goddamn time.
Great goddamn time. So the Top Gun Maverick's my number one. It's just, it's so surprising to me, because it's just, the first one is not like this at all. It doesn't make you feel this way. So she's great, outstanding.
One time, and I was good with the first one. This one, I'm happy to watch again. Something about it just works better.
Yeah, it just works. Everything about it. Maybe it's the technology, so you get more of the emotion and the stuff in the cockpits. Like you can see the characters, the cameras. Like the story is very, mediocre at best. Maybe like it's simple. There's nothing complicated about it. You need to go blow up this thing. Let's train some people to go blow it up. That's it. It's just very simple.
It's characters. That's what makes it work. I think is the characters.
Yeah. John Hamm is awesome. John Hamm. Always. Who doesn't love John Hamm? Chris loves John Hamm. Yeah.
I am ham about.
I love it. You're ham about ham. So yeah, that's my number one. Chris, I didn't really have any honorable mentions. I didn't watch enough movies this year. So, what do you got any honorable mentions there?
I've got X, which I really enjoyed. Nope, which, like I said, was a yup from me. Prey, which I also loved, was on yours. Barbarian, which
that could be on my honorable mentions. That was an experience.
Barbarian was a good time. Cha-Cha Real Smooth. That's a movie I saw earlier in the year. I think it was earlier in the year, and I really, really enjoyed it a lot. But when it came to me actually going through the list, these other movies came up first. And probably, if not for Bones and All, it would have been Cha-Cha Real Smooth at number 5. But Cannibals. Then this is kind of a surprise on here. I love that Chip and Dale movie that came out this year.
That almost made my top 5. Yeah, I guess I didn't think about that for my honorable mentions, but that was a good time.
That was so fun. I like that a lot.
Yeah.
Plus, I love Chip and Dale.
Yep.
Ian says, surprise not here, Everything All at Once in most people's top 5. I didn't get to see it. I will watch it at some point, though.
I watched it, and I don't remember enough of it to put it on my list.
Avatar, I didn't see. I'm not really an Avatar fan.
Mm-hmm.
Top Gun Maverick, a legacy sequel done. Yes. So I think Top Gun Maverick and Ghostbusters Afterlife, those are that's how you do legacy sequels. I love Jurassic Park Dominion or Jurassic World Dominion, but these two are how you do it.
Mm-hmm.
Top Gun Maverick and Ghostbusters.
I agree.
Ghostbusters Afterlife was my number 1. That was a great movie.
Mm-hmm.
Zay says it's just a simple story. That's what audiences want. Just a fun time at the movies. Those are the movies that will overperform this year. I agree with that too. It just you can sit down, turn your brain off, and just enjoy it. And Tom Cruise does help.
It certainly does. Okay, so my 5. Scream, number 5. Nope at number 4. Prey at number 3. The Batman at number 2. And Top Gun Maverick was my number 1 favorite movie of the year.
My number 5 was Bones and All. Number 4 was Top Gun Maverick. Number 3 was The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent. Number 2, The Banshees of Inisherin. Number 1 is The Batman. Because he's great.
It's not easy making lists, Chris. It's pretty hard.
It took me a while. I mean, I literally changed one before we started. That is a fact. I'm not very good with lists. I try, and I can do it, but it's just hard.
Nobody does lists like Midlife Vices. That's as far as I'm concerned.
They're very good at what they do. And also, I agree with Steve that Grabs has the best stash on YouTube. That is true. It is a monumental stash.
Monumental. Beautiful. Mm-hmm. So that's our top 5 favorite comics, TV shows, and movies of the year. That was 2022. So this is our first show of 2022, everybody. But it's also our 1-year anniversary of Gathering of the Geeks. Chris and I started this all the way back in 2022. I think it was in. I actually feel like our first show was in February, but maybe it was in January.
No, it was January. It was January 8th. I think it was the 9th or something.
Yeah, so pretty close to around here. So yeah, we've been doing this for a year. We're locked in, ready to go for another year, 2022. But I just want to say thank you to everybody who watches our show and comments and hangs out with us on Sundays, because you certainly don't have to do that. But we appreciate you guys and girls for doing that. We're appreciating the people who we didn't know before we started the show, but who are also watching the show now. Jeff, specifically right now, you're in the comments. Did not know you, did not interact with you before the show. And now seeing you in the comments is cool. We're glad you're here. We look forward to having you here on more Sundays. But thank you to everyone who watches and comments. Commenting is fun. Interacts with us on Twitter. Interacts with Chris's polls that he puts up on Twitters, and weird questions and weird GIFs and weird memes, all that good stuff that keep Gathering of the Geeks going. So thanks to everybody for watching and interacting and being part of our gathering, I guess. And Chris, thank you for a year-long endeavor that's going on for more and beyond.
You were much better with the sentimental stuff. So, and whatever Emmet said, times 2. Thank you, guys.
Okay, so in this show, we were looking back at 2022. In our next show, coming up next week on the 15th, we're going to look ahead a little bit. We're going to decide and look into things that we're excited for 2023. As well, guys, we announced a couple weeks ago that we're going to do our review podcast show with Nico from the 1939. We're going to be covering The Last of Us, which airs next Sunday. What's the name of our show? The Last of the Geeks? That's right. Last of the Geeks. So that'll be in your podcast feeds next week at some point. Not sure the date yet. But The Last of Us airs, I think it's 9 o'clock Eastern, maybe 10 o'clock Eastern on the Sunday the 15th. So make sure you guys are subscribed to Gathering of the Geeks wherever you get your podcast, so you can listen to our audio-only review show of The Last of Us from HBO. Anything else you want to talk about, Chris, before we get on out of here?
Nope, I am good. I think that, first of all, thank you guys for sticking with us long. I know we went longer than we normally do, but we had fun with the lists. So,
yes. That was the most work we put into any one of our shows that we've ever done. So
I think it is.
I think it is.
We did some homework.
So where can people find you, Chris?
You guys can find me on Twitter at thatchris70, but as always, I prefer you guys follow the show at G of the Geeks. Emmett's better with the other plugs, so he'll take over.
You can find me on Twitter and follow me there at EmmettDavis7. Gathering of the Geeks is available on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts. Just search Gathering of the Geeks and you will find us. Thanks to everybody in the comments today. Eric, Jeff, Steve, Zeddy, Grabs, Ian. Aaron was in for a bit as well. Who else did I miss?
Travis was with us.
Travis was there for Comics. Chris, thanks as well. He's got his show, their best of. I think it's
Thursday.
this week coming up. So make sure you guys are following Lost in Comics. They're doing their best of awards. So in saying all that, for Chris and I'm Emmet, and we gather on Sundays.
See you guys next week.